What's going on, Dolphins fans? It's Connor from the Dolphins Dive, and in today's video, I'm going to be ranking the best Dolphin draft classes of the recent future. I'm not going to obviously do the entire Dolphins future. I'm going to do, honestly, in the Chris Greer era, which started in 2016. Before I hop into today's video, just a quick little plug to the merch shop, thedolphinsdive.com, for the best Dolphins merch out there. We got our Dope Tua shirt that just dropped, and then some Mike McDaniel McLovin, which is a fan favorite, but I'm going to get right into today's video. So I'm going to go in reverse order. We have a total of, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 draft classes in the Chris Greer era. Number 8 starts tonight, but obviously the Dolphins do not have a draft pick. There actually is a report that the Dolphins may trade up into the first round to draft Jahmyr Gibbs, which I feel like would be a little bit of a reach. If we were trading up, I'd honestly want Darnell Washington, but also it's just smoke screens. It could be the team that's speculating or trying to get the Dolphins to move up, reporting that to put pressure on the Dolphins. Who knows? You never know with these smoke screens. But coming in at number 7 is going to be the 2017 draft class. Now, this had a tight competitor with a more recent draft class, but 2017 first round pick Charles Harris. The Dolphins took him over TJ Watt at the same position. Charles Harris has struggled mightily with the Dolphins, but he has found some recent success with the Lions. This past season, he was pretty injured, but overall, not that good of a pick. The second round pick was Raekwon McMillan. Didn't have much of an impact with the Dolphins. He was a solid run defender. He's on to the Patriots right now. He's a decent player, but second round pick, I would say overall, wasn't worth the investment. The third round pick, Cordray Tankersley, hasn't really done much for the Dolphins or past beyond that, honestly. Isaac Asiata honestly retired pretty quickly on after from the Dolphins drafting him. I know he became a police officer, so he's protecting the streets, so good on the Dolphins there, I guess. Fifth round pick, Devon Godchow. That was actually a very good pick there. He was a very good run stuffer for us, and then went on to the Patriots where, once again, solid run stuffer, but not much production beyond that. Sixth round pick, Vincent Taylor, also a defensive tackle. Hasn't made much noise since leaving the Dolphins. He had up and down moments. And then seventh round pick, Isaiah Ford, who has been on and off the Dolphins like 30 times since us drafting him. He's a solid seventh round pick, but nonetheless, this class didn't have much to it. Coming in at number 6, the 2022 class. I mean, there's not much to say about it. There was 4 total players. And I wish that I actually included undrafted rookies, but when I did my research, I only had the draft class in front of me, so that's an L on my end, but nonetheless, 4 players. Channing Tindall, who mainly plays special teams, didn't play much defense, but we're going to maybe see more of him this year. Who knows? More of a developmental guy, very high upside, but it's too early to tell in this draft class overall. But once again, 4 picks, you're not going to do much, honestly, especially when you have 3rd, 4th, and 2 7ths. It's not much. 4th round pick, Eric Ezukama, did nothing in the regular season. Once again, who knows if he'll have a role this year? I doubt it based off the receiving core, quite frankly. 7th round pick, Cameron Good, honestly didn't touch the field. If he even made the roster, I'm honestly thinking he might have been a practice squad guy. And 7th round pick, Skylar Thompson, which this is a good pick. Draft a quarterback in the 7th round. Generally, they never see the field, obviously due to injuries. Skylar Thompson did see the field. He wasn't good, but he didn't look like a 7th round pick. So, I mean, for example, the Jets drafted Zach Wilson 2nd overall, and Skylar Thompson played better than him this season. So, not a bad draft class. You get a quarterback in the 7th round that's serviceable. Probably could, if they were to try and trade Skylar Thompson right now, he'd go higher than the 7th. So, overall, I think that's a decent draft class. Not great, but not terrible. Coming in at 5th, and honestly, this draft class might be a little too low, but there was not a lot of value, or the Dolphins didn't have too much picks. So this was 2019. This was the first year of the rebuild where the Dolphins kind of got rid of everybody. First round pick, Christian Wilkins, absolute hit. That's a plus starter. Looking to get extended here in the near future. Although I don't know if it's really rumors, but I've seen people on Twitter be like, "Oh, what would your reaction be if we traded Christian Wilkins for this and that?" And I love Christian Wilkins more than the next guy. With that said, he's phenomenal against the run. As a pass rusher, there's more to be wanted. Like, he's not He's a very good defensive tackle. He does his job tremendously. But is he worth what he might get paid? I can understand going either way. Zach Sealer's been also very good. But nonetheless, I love Christian Wilkins. I hope he's a Dolphin forever. But I understand the financial aspect of it. Third-round pick, Michael Dieter. I said prick. Pick, Michael Dieter. Had an up-and-down career with the Dolphins. I don't even think he's on the roster anymore. But didn't have much success. He got thrown into the fire, though. He had to play all over the place. So it was tough for him. Fifth-round pick, Andrew Van Ginkel, an absolute hit. Special team dog. And continues to have impacts every year. We re-signed him pretty cheap, so hopefully he continues that up. Sixth-round pick, Isaiah Prince, offensive tackle, wasn't very good. I think he ended up on the Bengals, played okay, but not great. Chandler Cox, a fullback, got cut pretty much the next year, wasn't very good. And then Myles Gaskin, which he's not the best player in the world, but for a seventh-round pick, we had a starting running back for a year there. Honestly, it was a pretty solid pick. You can't hate on it. I believe he's still a free agent. We did not bring him back. So that's why I got ranked there. Coming in at number 4. Now, this might be controversial, but I have to weigh value as well as the players obtained. So coming in at number 4 is 2020. Now, this was the draft class that was deemed the turning point of the franchise. If you hit on these picks, you're going to go from a terrible team to a great team. And I would say the Dolphins did a little bit of both. They hit on some and they missed on some. And I think what really hurts this ranking is we missed on 2 first-round picks, and that hurts a lot. So, obviously, we got Tua Tagovailoa. I consider that a hit. You get a starting quarterback, which is very valuable. But, once again, people are going to debate Herbert. Could have taken him, and Herbert's had... I'm not going to debate it. I'm sure the comment sections will be good enough. But you hit on a quarterback, that's a very good pick. But then 18th overall, you take Austin Jackson, who thus far has been a bust. The coaching staff seems pretty high on him, and I see reasons to be so. So right now it's a bust. At the pick, it's a bust, period. But there's still hope for Austin Jackson's career in Miami. Hopefully this year at right tackle, he does a good job. Noah Igbenogany, flat out bust. 30th overall pick. They traded back, but nonetheless a bust. He's been not very good. He had a pick against the Steelers to close the game out this past season. Great, but someone that people are speculating we could trade to the Vikings. I'm all for it. This is a great hit. 39th overall, Robert Hunt. He's a plus starter at right guard. And honestly, I've been a big proponent of the Dolphins moving him to right tackle, but they do not want to do that. But big fan of the Robert Hunt pick. That's a slam dunk hit. Raekwon Davis, 56th overall. Once again, I consider that a hit. He's a starter at nose tackle, so positional value is not great there, but getting a starter in the second round, late second round, I consider that a hit. Brandon Jones, 70th overall. Once again, I consider that a hit. You get a very good defensive starter there. Honestly, I think that's a good pick. Solomon Kinley played a couple games with the Dolphins, but not too good with the fourth-round pick. Jason Strowbridge, fifth-round pick. I'd consider that a bust. Fifth-round pick, Curtis Weaver, once again, bust. I think he's in Cleveland now. I don't know if he's still in the league. Sixth-round pick, Blake Ferguson. It's a long snapper. Cool. He's been good for us, but as a long snapper, positional value is very low. So, I mean, whatever. I mean, a hit, but it's just a long snapper. And then seventh-round pick, Malcolm Perry. So, this draft class had the ups and the downs. So, overall, I think that's why it's fourth. Once again, getting Tua, Robert Hunt, Raekwon Davis, and Brandon Jones are the big hits there. But having 3 first-round picks and hitting on one of them is pretty rough. But they did do a good job in the second and third round, so they made up for it a little bit there. Coming in at number 3, I've got 2018. And the reason why is they hit on, in my opinion, their first 4 picks. Minkah Fitzpatrick is an all-pro safety for the Steelers. Obviously, the whole Brian Flores stuff happened, but he's an all-pro. That's a hit on Chris Grier's resume. Second-round pick, Mike Gesicki. Obviously, his Dolphins career came to an end, but he was a very solid player for us, and I consider that a hit. Third-round pick, Jerome Baker. Obviously, he's still a Dolphin. He got extended, and he's probably going to be an every-down linebacker for us for a very consecutive season in a row. So that's a big, great hit right there. Fourth-round pick, Durham Smythe. Once again, a hit. He's a starting tight end for us right now, so that's a hit. So 1 through 4 have been hits and solid starting players. Fourth-round pick, Kalen Ballage. I'd consider that a miss. Obviously, he played a couple games for us. I will always remember that 70-yard touchdown run against the Vikings. I think it was a Minka pick six and a Balaj like 70-yard touchdown. I was like, let's go. The game was turning around. It was a great moment, but it went downhill very shortly. 6th-round pick Cornell Armstrong, I consider that a miss. Linebacker Quentin Poling, consider that a miss. And then 7th-round pick Jason Sanders, and that's a hit. Obviously, Jason Sanders had a down year last year, but overall, he's had a very good season. If I'm not mistaken, he did win. I don't think he won All-Pro, but he was one of the best kickers in the league a couple years back. So that's a hit, getting a kicker in the 7th round. Coming in at number 2 is 2016. Reason being, Laramie Tunsil, first round pick, absolute massive hit. Obviously, the whole gas mask story happened, and Dolphins got him at a very, very late in retrospect to him being a first overall pick. And we go on to trade him for, I think, 3 first-round picks. He's an all-pro left tackle, arguably the best tackle in all football. 2nd-round pick, Xavier Howard, once again, all-pro level player. After that, it goes downhill, but drafting basically 2 all-pros has to give this draft class some value. Obviously, like I said, like 2020 had a lot of volume. There's 12 picks or whatever, and they hit on some and missed on some, but I think the Dolphins had looks like 8 picks here. And drafting 2 all-pros is just a very good job by Chris Greer in his first draft class, taking over as GM. So Laramie Tunsil, Xavier Howard, Kenyon Drake. 3rd-round pick, I consider him a hit. He's still playing in the league. He had some good years with the Dolphins, but overall didn't work out. Obviously, Leonte Carew was a bust. Shaquem Grant, first 6th-round pick, is a hit. Obviously, he played some games for us, had some impact. Not the best player in the world, but 6th-round pick, that's a hit. Jordan Lucas, Brandon Doughty, and Thomas Duarte all bust. But nonetheless, I think drafting 2 all-pros speaks for itself. And coming in at number 1, in my opinion, is 2021. The Dolphins absolutely knocked it out of the park with their first 3 picks in Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, and Javon Holland. You have a all-world, basically, in my opinion, receiver, edge, and safety. Receiver has become ever more valuable in the league nowadays, and Jalen Waddle is one of the best in the league. Jalen Phillips is looking exactly like what we drafted. Standout edge rusher, and I think he's going to continue to progress and get better. And it's a position of value so high that it's a slam dunk right there. Javon Holland's one of the best safeties in the league. I'm interested to see how he performs. Liam Eichenberg, he's a starter for us. Obviously, he hasn't performed up to expectation, but he's still starter nonetheless. I consider it a miss, but nonetheless, he's still a starter with more room to grow. He was drafted in 2021, so there's a lot of time still left to be. Hunter Long, I consider that a slam dunk. We traded him for Jalen Ramsey, so that's a dub in my opinion, but I wish Hunter nothing but the best. Larnell Coleman, that's a miss, and then Jared Dokes, also a miss. But drafting 3 high-level players that allow the Dolphins to go all in their recent draft picks because they hit on these guys. They had the young nucleus solidified with those 3 picks, and it's allowed the Dolphins to now be aggressive with draft picks and cap space to build off of these young guys' contracts. Because when you have an elite receiver, safety, and edge rusher, all on rookie contracts for the next 4 or 5 years, it allows you to go all in like we have with Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb. So that's today's video. Comment down below if you would have changed anything. Appreciate you guys for watching. It means a lot to me. And until next time, I'll catch y'all.